What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and I'm going to be doing a Master Duel in our Festival Gadget deck profile. And I'm really excited as you guys, because Gadgets are a great deck to play during the NR Festival, because this deck can basically take any staple card and put it into this super consistent engine that is Gadgets to be able to just overwhelm the opponent with how consistent this deck is. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Green Gadget. This card is a great card because when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a red Gadget from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Red Gadget, that when this card is normal summoned, you get to add a yellow Gadget from your deck to your hand. And then we play 3 copies of Yellow Gadget, that when this card is normal or special summoned, you get to add a green Gadget from your deck to your hand, which makes this deck extremely consistent. So basically every single time that one of these gets summoned, you get to search a different one, which is super good, especially during the NR Festival with how consistent this deck actually is. We then play 3 copies of Gold Gadget. Gold Gadget is a really good 3-of in this deck because it has the ability that when this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon out a level 4 machine monster from your hand. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon out a level 4 Gadget monster from your deck, except another copy of itself. So it replaces itself while also getting you into some really good rank 4 plays, which is really good for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Silver Gadget. Silver Gadget is a great 3-of as well because it basically has the exact same effect as Gold Gadget, but it says when this card is normal or special summoned, you get to special summon out a level 4 machine monster from your hand, and if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon out a level 4 Gadget monster except another copy of itself, which makes it super consistent because basically you're constantly going to be able to go into any rank 4 that you need in this deck, which when you summon these and then you special summon out a copy of your yellow, red, or green Gadget, you will also get their effects off to be able to search an additional Gadget monster, which is really good. We then play 3 copies of Infinitrack Anchor Drill. Anchor Drill is basically the way that we're going to be going into our rank 8 XZs, and this is a really great card for the deck because if this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon out 1 Earth Machine monster from your hand in defense position except another copy of itself. And you can also target 1 other machine monster that you control, and the levels of both that monster and this card become the combined original level of those 2 monsters. But keep in mind, as you play this card, you cannot target your Gold or Silver Gadget with this card because they're not Earth machines. They are light machines, but you can target any of your other Gadget monsters because they're all Earth. So basically this card is going to get us into some extremely powerful rank 8 XZs. We then play 2 copies of Boot Up Admiral Destroyer Dynamo. I did consider playing this card at 3, but this is pretty much our boss monster that has the ability that it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by sending 2 Gadget cards or Gadget monsters from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard. And it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effect while you control a Gadget monster or a Gadget monster card equipped to a monster. And then once per turn, you can target 1 other card on the field and destroy it, which is a really good effect to be able to constantly, every single turn, being able to pop a card on the field is just really good. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Moon Mirror Shield. Moon Mirror Shield is at 1 during the NR Festival, so this card is just a really good 1-of that helps you get over any monster that your opponent is playing, because it has the ability to, if the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, the equipped monster's attack and defense become equal to the attack and defense of whichever is higher of the opponent's battling monster plus 100. So regardless of what monster you battle, when this is equipped to your monster, you'll always be 100 points higher than the monster it's battling, which is really good. It also has the ability, if this face-up card is sent from the field to the grave, you can pay 500 life points to play this card on the top or the bottom of your deck, being able to recycle this card over and over again. We then play 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon just to pop back row because there's going to be a lot of back row running around during this festival. And then we're going to be playing 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice just to be able to negate monster effects. A really good card. Can also also boost up our gadgets by 400 attack points, but can negate an opponent's monster effect if needed, which is very, very helpful for this card. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Boot Up Order Gear Force. This card is basically Mirror Force, which is really good, and it has the ability that when either player's monster declares an attack, and if all monsters that you control are face-up machine monsters, minimum 1, you can destroy attack position monsters your opponent controls up to the number of machine monsters you control. So basically, if you have out 2 or 3 of your gadget monsters on your side of the field, and your opponent decides to attack you, you can flip this card almost like a Mirror Force to be able to destroy monsters on your opponent's side of the field that are in attack position that up to the number of machine monsters that you control, which is a really good effect to out an opponent's board. We then play 2 copies of Paleozoic Dynamiscus. Dynamiscus is a good spot removal card because you can target 1 face-up card on the field, discard a card, and if you do, banish that card, which is a pretty good effect to be able to just discard one of our gadget monsters, because we constantly will have monsters in the hand to be able to discard for this card's effect to be able to just get rid of a card on the field. It also has the ability that once per chain, when a trap card is activated while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card to your side of the field as a normal monster that's an Aqua Water level 2, 200 attack, 0 defense, which is a really good effect to be able to just instantly put this card on the field as another monster. We then play 3 copies of Bottomless Trap Hole. This card is a really good card to out all sorts of different boss monsters, and has the ability that when your opponent summons a monsters with 1500 or more attack, destroy that monster or monsters with 1500 or more attack, and if you do, banish them instead of sending them to the graveyard. This card is really good because it's just able to out so many different monsters that your opponent is playing and outing their boss monsters. We then play 3 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device. This card is a really good 3 of as well because it lets you target a face-up monster on the field and return it to the hand, being able to bounce your opponent's boss monsters or monsters that they summon from the extra deck that require resources to summon out to their side of the field back to the extra deck, which is always a really good thing. We then play 3 copies of Lost Wind as well. Lost Wind is a great 3 of because this handles all sorts of special summon monsters. It lets you target a face-up special summon monster on the field, negate its effects, and also half its original attack, which is really good for this deck, especially with all of our gadget monsters having around 1500 attack points. I think they go all the way up to 1700. So this card really helps out to bring their monsters down to our level, which is really nice. And it also has the ability that if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while this card is in your graveyard, then you can set this card back to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field, which is really good because you get 2 uses out of this card. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. This card is a great card to be able to attack your opponent's life points directly because it has the ability that you could do once per turn, target an XZ monster you control, and then target 1 machine monster, or detach material from this XZ monster, and then target a machine monster that you control. And this turn, it can attack your opponent directly, and also other monsters you control cannot attack. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's monster by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, then you can add 1 level 4 machine type monster from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty good effect. I did consider actually playing this card at 2 in this build. We then play a single copy of the Super Quantum Mech Beast Ouroboros. This card is a good one of them here because it can't attack unless it has materials, and then once per turn you can detach a material from this card and then target 1 other face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position, basically being a walking Book of Moon. We then play a single copy of Photon Papal Operative. This card is a good one of as well. It has the ability to once per turn detach material in this card and then target a defense position monster on the field and change it to attack position. And if you do, it loses 600 attack points, which is pretty good to help us get through some monsters that our opponent might put in defense position. We play a single copy of number 50, Black Ship of Corn, because this card is a really good one of to pop monsters on the field. It has the ability to once per turn detach material from this card and then target 1 face-up monster opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card's and send to the graveyard. And if you do, inflict 1000 points of damage to your opponent with this card can't attack this turn. We then play a single copy of Heartland Draco because this card can also attack your opponent directly, and it has the ability that while you control a face-up spell card, this card cannot be targeted for attacks, which is an okay effect. Doesn't come up in this deck, but it's still a pretty good effect. We then play a single copy of Gagaga Samurai because it can attack multiple times, which is really nice. 1 copy of number 52 because it is a 3000 attack point monster because it has the ability to once per turn detach material on this card and change this card's defense position to 0 or defense points to 0, and if you do, changes attack points to 3,000, being able to go in for a lot of damage against the opponent, which is really good. Or you can just throw this card in defense position to have a 3,000 defense point monster, which is really, really good. We then play a single copy of number 70. Number 70 is a good card as well because it has the ability to once per turn detach one material from this card and then target a monster opponent controls and banish it until the opponent's next standby phase. And at the end of the damage step, if this card attacked, you can make this card gain 300 attack, and if you do, increase its rank by 3, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Rhapsody and Berserk because it can boost upper monsters' attack points by equipping itself to one of your monsters, which is pretty good. One copy of Jin Knight Pearl because it is a 2600 attack point monster, which is really nice. Then for the rank 8s, we're playing a single copy of number 97. Number 97 is kind of a really good card in this deck that you're going to be summoning out with your Anchor Drill, but basically it has the ability that you can detach a material from this card and then special summon out 2 number dragon monsters and attach one as a material to the other. So the 2 number dragons that we're actually playing in this deck for this card's effect is Doom Chimera Dragon and a copy of Heart Earth Dragon, which Heart Earth Dragon is the one that I usually go for because it's an extremely powerful card that has the ability that this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and also your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card, which is a really powerful effect. We then play a single copy of number 84, Pain Gainer, because you can make this on top of your Heartland or Heart Earth Dragon, which is a really good effect, and you can also make it on top of number 97 because it has the ability to XZ summon this card on top of an 8, 9, or 10 Dark XZ monster, which is pretty good. And then we play a single copy of number 77 because number 77 is a 4,000 attack point monster, and it's a really, really good boss monster. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play during the festival because this deck is just extremely powerful and consistent, and I really love playing gadgets, especially in this festival because they're just a really good deck. I think this is probably going to be one of the best decks during the festival to play gadgets because of all the different staples that you can put in gadgets and how consistent this deck actually is. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.